Welcome to the Global Law Program. You're with Andrew Bird, and we're going to explore all things law today, hopefully entertain you. This week we're going to look at the APRIS Act 1982. This is quite a small act, and the summary on access point law is quite small. The reason for that is if it applies for you, you could do further research. Then this really just why would the rest of the public need to know about bees when it only applies to a select few? And so the view summary is: a person must be registered to keep bees, section 7. And the reason for the law is to provide for the regulation and control of the keeping of bees. Relevant links is Hive Registration, Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestries. And I'd recommend it as a critique of the Act, that as the common person would not be familiar with the word APRIS, it could be recommended that the total Act be renamed to the Beekeeping Act or something similar. The reason why I have reviewed this Act for the Global Law Program this week is that in the Epoch Times there's an article that bees are dying in droves with serious consequences for farmers which rely on yellow workers, the bees, to deliver pollen that allows food crops to produce fruit. In China, farmers have already experienced what it's like to farm without bees, and it's no easy feat. So if this is going to be a world epidemic, we need to really tackle this now. Don't know whether the Act would change it, but maybe public knowledge and maybe more regulation of chemicals and maybe better food, eating practices, or organic farming, that kind of thing might be the solution. But it's quite alarming that the bees are dying off like that. Other articles: there's a new self-proclaimed country in Europe. It's called Liberland, a tiny piece of land between Croatia and Serbia. And the founders argue that it's never been properly claimed. It's on the banks of the Danube River. And the Free Republic of Liberland, as it's so called, has a new self-proclaimed ruler. And the motto of the place is to live and let live, which sounds fair enough. At the moment, the citizens of the new country are asked to bring food and tents and sleeping bags, etc., to the place to allow it to be occupied. Currently, it's just wood and field. Yep, so that's good. I guess it's going to be recognised by the rest of the EU countries, otherwise it doesn't really have a country kind of status. Over in New Zealand, they're trying to get a hands on Aussie entrepreneurs with a wellingtonnz.com/ads up website being launched. There's actually a competition to bring entrepreneurs to New Zealand. It's been promoted that Wellington has significantly lower taxes, and New Zealand has a great economy, and there's better lower operating costs relative to Australia. Moving on to community announcements, there's a couple of events happening in Canberra that are kind of significant. There's a medieval fest at Old Parliament House in Canberra, which is now housing the Museum of Australian Democracy. There's also another event happening in Canberra on the 5th of July, the High Court of Australia in the Public Hall. There's a a brass experience. So in the High Court there will be professional woodwind performers playing works across history of Western music, and it's created especially for the grand architecture and unique acoustics of the High Court, website booking is necessary for entry, but does not guarantee seating. It's free entry. And it's on the 5th of July, just a Sunday from 1:30 p.m. Doors open at noon. So yeah, the title of the event is The Big Bang, Hoffman Wind, City Band, and the Bone Project. Yeah, woodwind performers. So that would be interesting because it's in the High Court of Australia. In world news, the Norwegian Parliament's Justice Committee voted unanimously to maintain a civilian police force that's unarmed except under special circumstances. They had just recently carried arms after the terrorism events. Before that, it was general practice that they weren't to carry weapons. So it's good that you're trusting people in general. Then if there was a need for it, then you'd carry them. It's definitely at odds to the American approach, and even to some degree our approach here in Australia. Also in Norway, there's been a debate recently whether electric vehicles should be exempted, continue to be exempted from its Norway's high vehicle and value-added taxes, road tolls and fees for ferry rides. And they're also exempted from parking fees, subject to lower annual registration fees, and can use special lanes otherwise set aside for taxis and buses, and recharge for free in Norway. So there's been a debate whether these exemptions should continue to apply, but the exemptions have been a great success in terms of major environmental gains in the form of better air quality and lower carbon emissions. So we haven't got any of these things in Australia, I don't believe. It's good to see that there are actually special treatment for electric vehicles, and it can have a good effect on the environment. So yeah, I guess we could do a similar thing in our country. And some other snippets of information. The Queensland Law Reform Commission annual report was tabled for the 13-14 year. In that report, it was mentioned that the review of the Trust Act 1973 was completed. The draft Trust Bills 2013 has been tabled. It says here in the report that the Commission's comprehensive report and draft Trust Bill are being considered by the Attorney General, so that's where that's at. And then there was a review of religious and certain other community organisation acts. There were a lot of acts relating to religious organisations looking there to be repealed, a total of 29 acts. So that's the bulk of that report. I've come across the website. It's actually called the Zhaixing Public Interest Lawyers website. On the site there's a section on legal aid to foreigners in China. So it says here they've recently established a program to provide legal services to foreigners in China. The vision behind the program is to ensure that foreigners in need of representation while abroad and trying to receive counsel from experts well versed in the Chinese legal system. So that's quite useful. The website for this is zhichenglaw.weebly.com. Well, this is an exciting event to announce, as the Brisbane Story Bridge will be transformed into a food market for a day to celebrate its 75th birthday on the 5th of July. The popular Eat Street markets will be conducting the event. There'll be over 80 food vendors and 20 food trucks and 4 bands for the event. It'll be held from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. So that's quite good. It's good that the infrastructure in our city is being used in a public manner. I know that overseas similar things have happened to celebrate their iconic buildings. So it's kind of bringing Brisbane to the international sphere, and it's quite high up the Story Bridge, so it's a great view of the inner city from there. So it'll be an event not to be missed, I'm sure.